What's going on, y'all? Welcome to Triple Z. I'm your host, Isaiah Henry. The Denver Nuggets have been one of the more aggressive teams during NBA free agency, filling in their roster to make a championship contending team. Signing valuable role players, they get Bruce Brown back, a player that helped them win their first title in franchise history back in 2023 on a minimum contract. They signed a solid shooter in Tim Hardaway Jr. They traded away Dario Saric to the Sacramento Kings to acquire Jonas Valanciunas, and their biggest move during NBA free agency, trading away Michael Porter Jr. and an unprotected 2032 first-round pick to the Brooklyn Nets to acquire Cam Johnson. All the perfect pieces to surround Nikola Jokic, entering his prime at the age of 30, coming off of his best season yet, finishing second in MVP voting behind SGA. For the 2024-2025 season, Nikola Jokic became the third player ever in NBA history and the first center in NBA history as well to average a triple-double of 29 points, 12 rebounds, 10 assists, leading the Denver Nuggets to a top 4 seed in the Western Conference. This roster is a significant improvement over the previous one. Last year, the second unit relied too heavily on younger players like Julian Strawther, Jalen Pickett, and CJ Watson. Denver ranked last in the league for three-point attempts at 31 per game, and DeAndre Jordan minutes as Jokic backup made it difficult to maintain a steady performance when Jokic needed rest. Bruce Brown, Tim Hardaway Jr., and Jonas Valanciunas coming off the bench will put more life into Denver's second unit. It was blatantly obvious that this team was top-heavy with Jamal Murray, Christian Brown, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, and Nikola Jokic. And specifically with Nikola Jokic in the 1,400 minutes that he was off the court, the Denver Nuggets had an offensive rating of 104 and a net rating of minus 9.3. And this is where the term the non-Jokic minutes comes into place. Jokic will play the first 11 minutes of a quarter. The Denver Nuggets will have a 7 to 8 point lead. Jokic will take a rest, and when he comes back on the court, the Nuggets will be down 4 to 5 points. The Denver Nuggets will lose an edge when Nikola Jokic stepped off the court. And the front office recognized that being completely vulnerable without their best player wasn't a sustainable strategy. Look at teams like the Indiana Pacers and the OKC Thunder, two teams that made it to the NBA Finals. Everyone is aware that SGA and Tyrese Halliburton are the best players, but from my perspective, I remember throughout both teams' respective playoff runs that when Tyrese Halliburton and SGA left the court, the second unit would be able to hold the fort down and go on their own personal run. So if you look at a team like the Indiana Pacers, TJ McConnell will come in and have his own personal run of 15 points in a quarter, have 5 steals throughout a game. Benedict Mathurin will score 20 points in 12 minutes. Ben Shepherd would get subbed in and bring the intensity defensively while also hitting his open three-point shots. Then you have Andrew Nembhard, who is taking over the ball handling responsibilities and running pick and roll, running a two-man game with Miles Turner, but then also being aggressive, scoring the basketball, getting downhill, or hitting his mid-range shots while Tyrese Halliburton is off the court. I remember moments where I would question, dang, is Tyrese Halliburton going to come back in? Because he'll be on the bench for a 5 to 6 minute stretch, but that's okay because the Indiana Pacers trust their second unit and their starters in Aaron Nesmith, Andrew Nembhard, Miles Turner, Pascal Siakam to hold everything together until Tyrese Halliburton is ready to get subbed back in. And then you look at a team like the OKC Thunder. Everyone knows that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the offensive juggernaut, averaging 32, 35 points in any series that he plays it. But when he gets subbed off the court, then you have this great defensive unit of Cason Wallace, who comes in, picks up 94 feet, and gets multiple steals in the backcourt. Then you have Alex Caruso, who I think was the OKC Thunder's best perimeter player, best perimeter defender, guarding Nikola Jokic, guarding Julius Randle, players who are stronger and bigger than him. And then you have Aaron Wiggins and Isaiah Joe coming off the bench, ready to shoot the ball as soon as it touches their hands. OKC and the Indiana Pacers have that personnel of trusting their second unit. Denver not having that personnel within their second unit was becoming a real concern because it was putting a hold on them competing for a championship. Now that the Nuggets have more depth and balance to their roster, the Nuggets will compete for a championship convincingly. Bruce Brown is basically going to do everything that Russell Westbrook provided with the ball handling, toughness, energy plays, and being that vocal leader. Bruce Brown won't be as unpredictable like Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook for the Denver Nuggets had a decent to good season, but it was almost like you're flipping a coin. One side of the coin, Russell Westbrook gets a triple-double. He's grabbing offensive rebounds. He's making hustle plays. He's being a leader. He's energizing the crowd. He's knocking down his three-point shots. But then the other side of the coin, the inefficiencies, the turnovers, not stepping on the brakes quickly enough to slow himself down, because Russell Westbrook is one of those kind of players that plays at 100 miles per hour. And yes, it can be positive, but then it can also be negative as well. Also, the inability to hit open threes when the defense is daring him to shoot the three. Bruce Brown, I'm not saying that he's going to have a perfect season with the Denver Nuggets, but he will be more consistent than Russell Westbrook coming off the bench. And I'm happy that Bruce Brown found his way back to the Denver Nuggets. Back in 2023, They won a championship. He was a core piece to the Denver Nuggets winning their first championship in franchise history. But the Denver Nuggets couldn't afford to pay him for what he was able to do for Denver winning a title. So then he signs with the Indiana Pacers for a 2-year, $45 million contract. He gets to Indiana, has some time there, and then he's traded, and he's involved in the Pascal Siakam trade, where Pascal is traded from Toronto to Indiana, and then Bruce Brown goes from Indiana to Toronto. Bruce Brown has a stint with the Toronto Raptors. Then they trade him to the New Orleans Pelicans. And the Pelicans were one of the worst teams last season in the NBA, hence why they got a lottery pick in the 2025 NBA draft. Bruce Brown is familiar with this organization. He is a fan favorite. He had his best season with the Denver Nuggets playing in the system with Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic. So I'm looking forward to Bruce Brown having another good year with the Denver Nuggets. Tim Hardaway Jr. will help with the three-point volume in Denver. He has no problem putting up 6, 7, 8 threes in a game. And this is not his first time as a shooter playing with a player that demands so much from the defense. Last year, he played with Cade Cunningham, who was an All-NBA, All-Star player in the league. And Cade Cunningham averaged around 9.2 assists, and Tim Hardaway Jr. was able to benefit off of that because Cade Cunningham is one of the best players getting downhill, drawing in the defense, and then kicking it out to his teammates. Tim Hardaway Jr. last season shot 37% from three on 5.5 attempts a game. And then when you look at Tim Hardaway Jr. time with the Dallas Mavericks, playing with a supercomputer like Luka Doncic, Tim Hardaway Jr. had seasons where he shot 39% from three, 38% from three on 7 attempts a game, but then he also had the seasons where he shot 35, 36% from three, and that's the kind of shooting you're going to get from Tim Hardaway Jr. He's going to have stretches where he's on a microwave heater, where he's knocking down all types of threes, catch and shoot, off the movement, step backs, one dribble pull up in transition. He's a really good three-point shooter, but then he's also going to have those moments where he's streaky, up and down, inconsistent. I think he can blend well with playing like a player like Nikola Jokic, who's the best passer, has the highest basketball IQ in the game today. And when you surround Nikola Jokic with movement, cutters, shooters, he can make you better. He can elevate your game because he's so great himself, and that's the benefits of playing with Nikola Jokic. Jonas Valanciunas can come in and play a 10 to 12-minute stretch throughout a game as a backup big for Nikola Jokic. DeAndre Jordan is 36 years old. He's 4 years older than Jonas Valanciunas. DJ's in that area of his career where he's a Udonis Haslem, a James Johnson, a Joe Ingles. You don't want him playing significant minutes for your team. He's supposed to be that veteran on the bench. He's supposed to be that veteran on the bench that doesn't play a lot of minutes, but then he's also supposed to be that vocal leader for your team. Jonas Valanciunas being the backup big for Nikola Jokic is great. I love this signing. The fact that the Nuggets were able to give away Dario Saric, who really didn't do much for the Denver Nuggets, and then trade him to the Sacramento Kings to get Jonas Valanciunas. I love this pickup for Denver. Jonas Valanciunas can make himself available around the basket because he's a big and tall body. I expect to see a watered-down two-man game between Jonas Valanciunas and Jamal Murray. He can seal. He has some post moves around the basket. He has a decent touch around the rim. He can shoot the little mid-range shot. Now, there's this whole thing where the Greece team and the Denver Nuggets had some type of verbal agreement, but apparently come to find out that there was no verbal agreement and that the Denver Nuggets are expecting Jonas Valanciunas to play out his contract. And I mean, hopefully it just doesn't get too messy. And then adding a player like Cam Johnson, a player who it felt like was on every team's radar during the trade deadline due to his ability to shoot the three, his movement off the ball, basketball IQ, can create for himself within the offense. He's a decent team defender, and he's also an upgrade from Michael Porter Jr., especially when you look into the fact that Cam Johnson is making $21 million next season, which is $17 million less than what Michael Porter Jr. is making, giving Denver more flexibility to add to their roster. Johnson will fit in so smoothly with the Denver Nuggets offense. The current Denver roster is even stronger than their championship-winning team from 2023. Nikola Jokic is coming off of his best season, averaging a triple-double. Christian Braun had a career year as a starter for the Denver Nuggets, and he can take another leap with his game. Aaron Gordon being a Swiss Army knife as always and improving as an outside shooter. They upgraded the small forward position with Cam Johnson. Nikola Jokic has a legitimate backup center in Jonas Valanciunas. The three-point volume overall as a team should increase with the volume three-point shooters they added in Cam Johnson and Tim Hardaway Jr. Denver Nuggets shot the three ball efficiently, but the frequency and volume was ranked bottom in the league. Jamal Murray is going to play with a chip on his shoulder, hearing all the noise from last season about the max contract that he signed, as people deemed it as an unworthy contract. Maybe this is the year where Jamal Murray finally makes an all-star team. Most importantly for Denver, there's no friction between the coach and GM. A couple of games before the postseason started last year for the Denver Nuggets, Coach Mike Malone and GM Calvin Booth were fired from the Denver Nuggets. The friction between them basically was Coach Mike Malone wanted to play veterans and experienced players, and Calvin Booth wanted to play their draft prospects and younger players. And when you look at the team now, I mean, there's a good balance between that surrounding Nikola Jokic. I mean, look at the veterans and experience for the Denver Nuggets. You got Jonas Valanciunas, you got Tim Hardaway Jr., Bruce Brown, Nikola Jokic, Cam Johnson, Aaron Gordon, Jamal Murray. And when you look at the younger side, you got Christian Brown, who had a career year last year with the Denver Nuggets. Julian Strawther can improve as a more consistent shooter. And CJ Watson is one hell of a defender. So there's a good balance surrounding Nikola Jokic, who is the championship window when you talk about the Denver Nuggets. I'm excited for David Adelman to have a full season with the Denver Nuggets. He coached his tail off with short notice, being the interim coach, I think 3 games before the playoffs started, and he took the defending champs to 7 games. So I'm excited for him to have a full season with Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, Cam Johnson, having a much improved roster, probably the best roster he ever had with his time with the Denver Nuggets. I expect Denver to be a top 3 seed in the Western Conference, a 55-plus win team, and to be the biggest threat to OKC coming out of the Western Conference. Thank you all for listening to Triple Z. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment down below. Let me know your expectations for the Denver Nuggets. Do you like their new additions in Tim Hardaway Jr., Bruce Brown, and Cam Johnson? Can they make it back to the NBA Finals and win another championship in their franchise? Let me know down in the comment section. I'll see you guys next time. Zzz.